Hey, it's Justin back with Engineer's Perspective. This morning I'm going to do some thinning on my Tojiro DP Santoku. I've got a Shapton Pro 220 grit here. Been trying it out along with a 320 and 1K. Really like this 220, but we're just going to get after it. So I'm going to start my thinning with applying pressure at the bevel side of this. So fingers towards the bottom there. And a good amount of pressure because there's a lot of surface area involved here. This hand, I'm kind of twisting the knife into the stone as well, but it's still keeping it flat. Hitting the bolster. If you're doing somebody else's knife, please tape it up, or if you really care. And I try to kind of do just a number of strokes so I can keep things even, so it's like 30 or whatever. I lost count. Water, when you're thinning, is going to need to be reapplied often. So I have done thinning on stones several times with several different knives, and I've had good success with it, but it does take a while. And so my recommendation for somebody who wants to thin out their knives on stones is don't wait. Don't wait until it gets so bad that you're gonna have to spend like 4 hours doing this. I'd say once you're like, I have sharpened that knife a lot, maybe I should do it, just go ahead and do it. And don't even do it to the point to which you think that it needs it. Just do like a quarter of the job that you think it needs, or half. Break it up into pieces, otherwise this just can become a lot. Of course, the problem arises when you're very concerned about the finish of your knife. Because if you're going to start at a 220 grit and work it to a polish, doing that over and over again can be pretty brutal. Just try to spread the mud around. Try these big strokes, use the whole stone. Had good luck with this 220 because it wears. You can see this slurry here, but it wears slow enough that it's pretty easy to not kind of forget what you're doing and put a dish slot in it. It's pretty easy to spread out the wear on this guy. Tip. Alright, let me wash this up a little bit. Alright, so here we go. Here's the Santoku. I just kind of wanted to show the scratch pattern off of this 220. You can actually see there's two sets of scratch patterns on here, so I'll try not to be too confusing. So this line here is because the first part of thinning is you thin out the bevel side. Second part is you thin out the shinogi line to raise it up. And these Tojiros are not fully flat ground, so there is a shinogi line. But this, below this line, is the scratch pattern. I know it's kind of hard to see, but if you've ever worked with 220 sandpaper on metal, it looks exactly like that. It looks coarse and it looks deep. It doesn't look nice. I mean, a properly done 220 grit finish on like a belt sander, you can have actually look pretty nice, but this isn't that. It's pretty coarse and just, you know, the inconsistencies of working with hands. I guess I can show the other side too, but that kind of gives you an idea of what it looks like. You know, this knife is approaching, and it had already been thinned out some in the past, but it's definitely getting to the point now where I think I'm ready to finish the coarse work and then move on to the finer work of just making it look pretty again. So you definitely can do things on a belt sander. So here's a Grand Maitre Victorinox. It's X50 CRMOV 15 at like 57 Rockwell, soft German steel. This one I hit on the belt sander. Key with the belt sander is you have to A, be very careful, B, use quality ceramic belts, and 3, it has to be a low grit, talking in the ballpark of 80 grit, because the lower the grit, the more air gaps there is, and you'll stay cooler easier. And that's your enemy with the belt sander, is heat. You don't want to botch this heat treat, especially at the tip. It heats up ridiculously fast. So with the ceramic and 80 grit, you're able to work this, and I'd say stop short of the tip, maybe about there, and just keep doing this side until it's just barely warm. Like if you're like, is that warm? Dip it in water, clean it off, work it, and after you've worked this where it's getting near where you want it to be, then do a couple where you include the tip and just kind of watch that progress, okay? And then same goes for the other side. But it's a very slow touch and go process. You know, don't, you know, let's do a stroke check. It's not slow by like zzz, you ruin your blade. But the stone is a lot more forgiving of mistakes. And when you've got a knife that has cladding, this is very doable and it's my preferred way. But these monosteel knives, forget about it. They're awful to thin on a stone. So that's all I have for today. I just kind of wanted to show you what it looks like and talk about it a little bit. I'm gonna do a video after this of the finished product, so keep your eyes out for that. But that's my coarse thinning, so there you go. Bye.